We're going to see how you can convert from the number of moles to the number of atoms or molecules, or it could be anything. A mole just is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. We usually use moles to refer to numbers of atoms or number of molecules, but it doesn't really have to be. So the key thing to remember is that 1 mole equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. That's Avogadro's number, and that's what you need to remember. So if I want to say how many atoms do I have if I have 3.2 moles of atoms, so I have 3.2 moles, and I want to know how many atoms. This is just a conversion problem. 1 mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So I can always multiply by 1 mole over 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, or by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over 1 mole. Either way, I'm multiplying by 1. So if I take 3.2 moles and I multiply, I'll put 1 mole down here so that my moles cancel, and 1 mole is equivalent to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And so to get that, (3.2) times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Now notice this button, EXP, or in a lot of calculators it's EE, means times 10 to the. So you don't have to put in times 10 to the. This button will do it. So that equals that, which in scientific notation would be 1 point, let's get that back up, 1.93 times 10 to the 24th atoms. All right. Okay, well, now let's see if we were given the number of molecules of something, if we could figure out how many moles we had. So let's say that I was told that I had 4.3 times 10 to the 24th molecules, and I want to know how many moles. Okay, so I have 4.3 times 10 to the 24 of something, and I'm trying to get how many moles. So I'm going to have 1 mole on top and 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd on bottom. So I'm trying to get how many moles. So I need moles to be in the numerator here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take 4.3 times 10 to the 24 and divide by 6.02 times 10 to the 23. Okay, so 4.02 times 10 to the 24th divided by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd is 6.678 moles. Okay, so another way you can think about it, if you just want to have the simple way to think about it, is you can say if you have the number of items, whatever they are, atoms, molecules, and you want to go to moles, then you divide by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. If you have moles and you want to go to the number of whatevers, then you multiply by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So let's say that I have 0.20 moles of hydrogen ions. That's what I want to have. And I want to know how many hydrogen ions do I have. I have moles. I'm trying to get to number of items, so I'll multiply by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So 0.2 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, and I get 1.204 times 10 to the 23rd ions. Okay, well, let's say that I actually have to go from grams to number of atoms. Okay, well, I can't go directly from grams to number of atoms. In order to go from grams to number of atoms, I have to go from grams to moles to number of atoms, or molecules, depending on what it is. So if I had 16.0 grams of carbon, and I want to know how many carbon atoms is this, first I have to go from grams of carbon to moles of carbon before I can figure out how many carbon atoms I have. So to get from grams to moles, I have to know the molecular weight of carbon. So you look that up on the periodic table. Here's carbon. Its mass is 12. So to go from grams to moles, I have 16.0 grams of carbon times, in 1 mole of carbon, there are 12 grams. This number came off the periodic table. So this is 16 over 12. Or 1.333 moles. And then 1.33 moles. I'm trying to go from moles to number of atoms. And so to go from moles to number of atoms, I multiply by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And I get 8.03 times 10 to the 23rd.